Welcome to step 1 of understanding and getting out of this hole of anxiety. You're not the only one. Anxiety disorders are the most common mental disorder in the world, and as of 2019 there were 391 million people suffering. I hear you, I've been there, I know exactly what it's like. You may be wondering, how do I ever get out of this hole? How do I sleep again? How do I stop these feelings in my body? I just don't know what is going on. I want them to stop now, I want answers, and I don't know how much longer I can stand this. You've got no one to help you probably, no one to understand what's going on, no one to talk to, and people may judge you even if you do talk to them. You may end up in a mental asylum, you might be very scared, because that's what anxiety can do to us. It can make everything feel worse than it actually is, and that's not your fault. I'm here to tell you that when we understand how the human body works, we can then fix what it's actually just telling us it needs. That comes down to, and I'm going to cut to the chase straight away for you because I know what it's like, minerals. So we have 12 inorganic cell salts. When you burn the human remains to ashes, these 12 inorganic cell salts are what remain. So if we replenish those, the body then can repair, rejuvenate, repair organs, cells, and even the digestive system, the gastric juices. The iron, the sodium, the potassium, these levels, especially sodium and potassium, are key for the adrenals. And when we are experiencing anxiety, it's usually because we have been running a stressful life. We're running nearly on empty in our tanks, and as we hit middle age, we start to really feel the effects because our hormones change at this age for men and women. So our adrenals really come into play in this age because the hormones are dying off. So that's when we realize, oh, we actually have weak adrenals because we don't have enough of the sodium and the potassium and the other minerals that they need to function. So once we replenish that, we're on our healing journey back to health. So I'm here to tell you, I've gone through it, I know exactly what you're experiencing. I'm not here to tell you to meditate, I'm not here to tell you to go and read a book or colour in, or it's all in your head, or you just need to have some therapy. No, because those aren't the solutions long term. Let's dive into it. Step 1, we need to understand that the adrenals take up a lot of vitamin C. They need a lot of vitamin C. But if we are so poorly sodium deficient, we actually can't handle a lot of vitamin C. So we need to really increase the levels of the sodium in our body first before we can tolerate that vitamin C. Vitamin C for me made me even more insomnia-like. So it made me lose a lot more sleep because of the vitamin C. So it took me about a year to be able to even have vitamin C. Welcome to step 2. So the 12 inorganic cell salts that I talked about, I'm now going to speak about them further. Dr. Schutzler in the late 19th century discovered that when we burnt the remains of the human body, what remained were 12 inorganic cell salts. So what do they actually do? They are the building blocks for our body. Now, in Europe, they discovered that you could do facial analysis, and it was very accurate in discovering what the actual cell salt was or is that's missing in the human by looking at maybe dark patches under the eyes or crow's feet. Silica is lines here by the ears, and pores, open dots, pores on the face, especially the nose. That is a NAT/MUA deficiency. I highly recommend this book, Facial Diagnosis of Cell Salt Deficiencies by David Card. So they've got all of these different weird names. They relate to calcium, sodium, potassium, iron, and silica. So there are 3 different forms of each of the calcium, there's 3 different forms of the potassium, and there's 3 different forms of the sodium. And then you've got the other three actually. There's a magnesium one, MagPhos, then you've got the silica one, and you've got the ferrum phos, which is iron. Now ladies, please do take note here. Iron for us is huge. If you're tired, if you've got issues with that menstrual cycle being too long, too heavy, then definitely look into this ferrum phos cell salt. So the other two key ones for anxiety, as we're talking about anxiety here, are CaliPhos, which is potassium phosphate. The best healing agent known to mankind. It's incredible. It would make mental asylums go out of business because it deals with the grey matter in the brain. So hello Valium, deep sleep kind of thing, it's calming. It's what the brain's actually craving, which is the thing that we don't have, potassium phosphate. Now, I haven't seen any way to increase potassium other than eating foods in the past, and now I've discovered this way with the cell salts. It harmonizes the nervous system. It's also known as sodium phosphate. So again, you got your potassium and your sodium, which are key for the adrenals with the anxiety. Calming down the nervous system. The nervous system is huge. When we've been under a lot of stress, that nervous system is really wired. We're tired, we don't have the energy, and at the end of the day, it all comes down to a lack of minerals. Now, there are other minerals that I do need to go into that we do need to address, other than the 12 inorganic cell salts. So if you do want to do more research into them, there is a book written by David Card. I highly recommend this book, Facial Diagnosis of Cell Salt Deficiencies by David Card. And I got mine off Trade Me here in New Zealand. So it's a really informative book because it's got the pictures of the people and their faces and what the different things are. For example, if you've got red cheeks, it's a magnesium phosphate deficiency or redness around the face. If you've got a waxy skin, that is a silica deficiency. It's very interesting. You'll start looking at your face a little bit differently after reading this book. Love, I look forward to talking to you again in step 3. Welcome to step 3 on the journey of overcoming anxiety. So you've probably tried breathing techniques, you've probably tried vagal tone resets, you might have even seen some practitioners who can do some somatic body work, you may have tried massages, you may have tried all different kinds of things to get yourself to sleep or to remove those feelings within the body. So we do need the minerals. I've gone over the 12 inorganic cell salts in step 2. Now this video is going to go over the other minerals that we really do need to address, and one of them is boron. You can buy borax, which is a cleaning detergent from Bunnings here in New Zealand, and it's actually got the boron in it, and for one reason or another that's the only way that it's allowed to be sold. That's a really good resource. You can also have boron as a supplement. I know that when we've used up our magnesium levels go first when we're under stress, and then we use up our boron levels. So that's really key. And if you want to know how to test for that level in the body, there is actually a way of testing it. And I can talk as well about testing your body for copper, as well as sulphur, which is another key one, and cobalt, which we need for vitamin B12. So we usually have like an iron deficiency or a vitamin B12 deficiency, and we're just told to have injections or supplement. But I'm here to tell you that there's more to it than that, and it is actually quite simple. So I'm just going to get my sheet. So if you get a hair tissue mineral analysis done, it will show you your levels of sulphur, your levels of boron, your levels of magnesium, potassium, sodium, selenium, and Then it will also show you what heavy metals you have in your body. Now, if we have heavy metals in the body, we're not able to have the minerals absorb as well as what they should be. So there could be an underlying cause to the anxiety of a heavy metal toxicity issue. So for me, I had high levels of mercury, and I've successfully been able to chelate it in just 2024. So it was a pretty quick chelation. Naturally, I haven't seen anybody else in the world do it. That's the hair mineral analysis test. The one thing that got rid of my anxiety within 24 hours is on the front cover here of my book, Abundant Healing. It's a glass of methylene blue. Now that's used in emergency departments, in the hospitals. If methylene blue, and if they've got this poisoning, they have got a lack of oxygen. So I believe that we are actually lacking oxygen in the body in general because we have low iron levels. And that methylene blue was what took away my anxiety. In a very short period of time, I had 10 drops of it one morning, I had 10 drops the next morning, and all of a sudden my anxiety had left my body. So it really comes down to simple things like oxygen and iron, and then there's the copper. So we can be copper deficient, and we can also have copper toxicity. The copper toxicity can come about because of you being on potentially the pill or having a copper IUD. So it really does pay to have a hair mineral analysis test done to uncover what is going on. Copper is good for us because it's what we need to heal. It's a very, very important mineral for the body for healing. We can, like I say, have a deficiency because we don't have enough ceruloplasmin, which is what the body makes in the liver to make that copper bioavailable. Now, if I'm getting a bit too technical, I do apologize, but to keep things as simple as possible, we need the iron and we need the copper, but we need the copper in a bioavailable form. We also need boron, and we also need sulphur to help our bodies for the detoxification process. So our livers are really important in the whole functioning of our bodies for detox. And I will go through the liver in step 4. Thank you. Steps. I've spoken about the importance of iron, copper, boron, and sulphur. And now I'm here to talk about how important our liver is in our whole process of living and being here. So we have bile. The bile production in our liver is what helps us to digest our food. So we have stomach acid, and then we have the bile, and the bile is very alkaline, the acid's very acidic, and they make a little infusion or a blast which brings the nutrients out of the food so we can absorb our nutrients. If we're stressed, we have a poor digestive tract functioning, we don't have the cell salts for the gastric juices, for example. We're not going to get all of our nutrients from our food. So that's the stomach, the digestion, the importance of the bile. The liver is needed for the detoxification of what we have and what we're ingesting day to day, the toxins in our environment. The liver also is very key for our fatty vitamins, for them to be absorbed. Vitamin D is actually a hormone, and 80% of the conversion of vitamin D is done in the liver. Vitamin D is a very key aspect for healing the thyroid. Thyroid and adrenals are 98% of where our energy comes from. So if you've got anxiety, you may very well have a thyroid issue as well as the adrenal issue. So if you know about the liver and you know about how vitamin D is so key, Dr. Berg's doctor has actually discovered that all his patients who come to him with thyroid disorders have a vitamin D deficiency, and I am not advocating taking a vitamin D supplement. I don't think that they are a good idea at all. The sun is how we should get the vitamin D through the skin, and our livers should be functioning to be able to convert it. So we need that good bile flow for the toxic waste to be eliminated, and that is a very key part in the healing of the adrenals, the thyroid healing, and ultimately healing the anxiety. Next step will be step 5, and that will be just putting everything together so that you can make sense of the 5-step process in overcoming anxiety. The mantra that you can say to yourself right now is, this is happening for my highest good, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. This is happening for my highest good, even though it doesn't feel like it right now. Okay, and I am a reason to believe that everything is going to be okay. I had anxiety for 4 years, and I had it most of my life. It became much worse when I hit middle age, 40. I was an insomniac. I didn't even have the energy to sleep, I was told by my chiropractor, who put a computer thing on the back of my back and scanned me, and I was so confused because I was taught to wear out the children and wear yourself out so you sleep well. Well, there's a certain point that you can get to of wearing yourself out, and you've probably got to a point where you have experienced stress, trauma, abuse even, and your whole nervous system, your whole body has just gone, we don't have the resources anymore to cope. We've done our dash, and we're just trying to tell you something's not right. It can be fixed. So let's get into it. On step 1, I introduced the 12 inorganic cell salts. Now, if you live in New Zealand, you can actually use the geothermal water. That is a good way of getting the inorganic cell salts, and sulphur. Sulphur was mentioned in step 4. If you want to measure where your sulphur levels are at, where your magnesium levels are at, your boron levels, the cobalt levels, which we need to digest to make the vitamin B12 available so that works, you can do the hair mineral analysis testing. So over here, I'll put it up on the screen. The result, it costs $250 New Zealand to get a test done. You go to the hairdresser. If you've got hair at the nape here, they take a cut. You show the hairdresser where to cut. I will show you the video. It will be linked below, my 5-step process to getting a hair mineral analysis test done. That, to my mind, is step 1. With your next movements forward as to where to from here. And then description below, you will see I have the Similian website where you can go and buy these inorganic cell salts, and you can start learning more about them. Buy the book by David R. Card. Thank you.